Buddy, Vilisink back again with Raid Shadow Legends, and in this one, I want to talk about some of my favourite control champions, or champions that I've used. We'll do some shoutouts later on in the video, but this is just to go over some of my favourite ones to use. Some I don't even use anymore, but some I used way back in the day, over 2 years ago, when the game was very much different. So we're going to take a look at these champions. We're going to go through 6 of these champions, and then we'll do some honourable mentions looking through the roster that I have. So, one of the champions will do previous to current. So, a champion I used to use all the time, and I still think is a fantastic champion if you put him in a stun set, is Scar. Well, I never gave this dude masteries, he never had books, he had a stun set that's pretty much been his only set. I did once put him building for damage, but the stun set I found to be just fantastic. Now, he does have 99 speed, which makes him not necessarily too slow. Okay base HP, defense is actually not that bad either. And he has AoE on the A1, chance of stealing one random buff from each enemy. You never know what you're going to steal, but if you take this champion, put him into the magic keep, and he steals the shield from the boss, he gets the biggest shield you have ever seen, I promise you. Fantastic. And again, stun set works very well with champions that do AoE abilities. He has command, which gives an increased attack buff and an increased crit rate buff on all allies for 2 turns. So using this, I was able to build my champions 70% crit rate. I never had to get 100 because 2 years ago the game was very much different to how it is now. It's just by far not the same. So giving yourself that little bit of wiggle room, having that buff of 30% increased crit rate going on to your champion, also buffing their attack depending on the damage deal that you used, who most likely could have been Kale, Elan, Mechadosis, Gallic. This is still a timeless move, and I don't think people actually realise just how good it was. You have Rebirth. Now this is a heal all allies. He then cleanses all debuffs off of you, so effectively he's like, this move would be like a Skytouch Shaman or a Hacker Smash Lord. Heals, takes all debuffs off, so therefore all poisons, all stuns, all provokes, all decreased speed, all decreased defense, and also the amount by which each ally is healed increases according to the number of debuffs on them. So the more debuffs, so for example, if I used Scar in Doom Tower for the spider, when the spider legs put on all of that poisons, or if I fought randomly a Taurus and all that poisons went on, I would get a much bigger heal as compared to only having 1 or 2 poisons or 1 or 2 debuffs, decreased defense. I think a few champions work in that similar way, and the amount by which each ally's turn meter is filled increases according to the number of debuffs on them. So they also get a turn meter fill based on the debuffs on them. So altogether, a very, very good champion. He is underrated nowadays. People just don't know about this champion. They haven't used him. He is so good. And if you have him, keep him at 50. He's fine. Make him fast, HP, stun set, some accuracy, and you are good to go. He heals, gives you turn meter boost, a full cleanse, buffs your crit rate and your attack. And this is a fantastic move here. Chance to stealing 1 random buff from each enemy. So you can essentially, if you go into dungeons, AoE attack, 5 enemies, you could be taking back 5 buffs. So Scar is one of my favourite control support champions. He's a fantastic champion, Just underused, that's all. He's just underused. Now, where is the next one here? Because the next one we're talking about is a farmable champion. And her name is Diabolist. Now, she can be gained from, I believe, stage 12. Or is it 6? It's one of the two. I believe it's stage 12 in campaign. And again, you put her into a stun set, she's fantastic. But it isn't really just the stun set for Diabolist. She has a fantastic kit also. She has 105 speed, so when you fully ascend Diabolist, she will gain 5 more speed, so she has 110 speed, which is the same as a fully ascended Arbiter, for instance. So for a rare champion that you can farm, I mean, what else do we need to say? A fast, farmable champion that will help you progress pretty much no matter where you are, if you're just starting off or if you're looking for someone that has a pretty cool kit. Now, attacks one enemy, 10% chance of placing a sleep debuff. Sleep is a little bit kind of crappy. I mean, the day set is not great, but if you're doing it to one champion and you know you're not going to wake them up, it does just take away some of that threat that the enemy will bring to your team. So ultimately, it can still be used. This is the AoE, which is why stun sets are just making her ridiculously fast. AoE places a 30% increased speed buff on all allies for 2 turns. Goes to a 3-turn cooldown. Positive charge. This is effectively like Lysandra. There is a few moves similar to, a few champions that have this same move. So it fills the turn meter of all allies by 15%, decreases the turn meter of all enemies by 15%. Early days arena, this was key. I would take her in. Positive charge. I think she was like 180, 190 speed and back then. That was actually not too bad. And I would fill my own turn meter, give her enough accuracy. You pass the accuracy test or accuracy check. She decreases the enemy's turn meter, so speed your team up, slows the enemy down. Again, has an AoE in which you get an increased speed buff, 30%. Again, works fantastic in a stun set. Also has a sleep. I use this champion also in dungeons in very early dragon. A lot of the keeps I use this champion, and I booked Diabolist by farming Diabolist. There was no need to use rare books. I just kept farming the same campaign stage, and then eventually I booked her out. I believe I've got several booked out. I may have actually failed one or a few of them, but I believe I've still got more than one. But nonetheless, a very old school champion, a fast champion, a farmable champion. What more can you ask for? But as we move on to a little bit further forward in time, I pulled a champion. Let me see if I can find him, who is fantastic. Now, I pulled this champion at the same time I pulled a cult brawler. So within like 4 or 5 days, they were done. And I think I pulled this champion around battle pass time. A miscreated monster for his control. And the support he can give you is absolutely top tier. This should be a legendary champion. He's humble. He doesn't want the credit. He just wants to help support your team. He wants to make safe passage for you, so he won't cause any scenes. But he is absolutely amazing. Fantastic champion. High base HP. Attack is okay. I mean, he's a HP based champion, so it's kind of irrelevant. Defense is slightly lower. 95 speed. He's slower, but it's still enough to work with, depending on where you take him. Because depending on where you take him, depends on how much speed you need to apply extra. I did give him enough accuracy, and I gave him a little bit of damage, but he has... I basically wanted to get him high HP, not necessarily the damage dealer, just higher HP, a couple of quad rolls, HP chest, like speed boots with like 25% HP. Basically, to keep him alive, he has like 90k HP, and his kit is as follows: attacks one enemy twice. Each hit has a chance of placing a stun debuff for 1 turn, which I used in Arena. There's a few videos on this channel of me in Arena using this champion after my double boost before Rotos. He's a fantastic Arena champion. Again, I used him in Doom Tower, I still do. I still use him in dungeons. I'm beginning to not necessarily phase him out, but get different champions. So I still use him, but not in as much places as I did before. So the stun on an A1 is always good. 50% chance of placing a decreased defense debuff if the stun is placed, which is great, especially for Arena. So when you hit somebody and you stun them, you can not only stun them, but you can put up a decreased defense, the big version. Very nice. This is the AoE, 50% chance of placing a stun debuff for a turn. Can't pick it up any higher, so it's essentially a flip of a coin, but you do get a big ass shield. Now, I used him in Arena, and I still do occasionally. I'm having fun with Faceless and Rotos, as you may have seen, but Spider is where he shines like the beautiful star in the sky. If you give him even more crit damage than I gave him, he will give you probably the biggest shield you've ever seen. He will keep anybody alive. He's absolutely fantastic there. He's fantastic in every aspect of this game, if you ask me. Whether you need damage, whether it's for the shield, or it's for the stuns, or it's for the ally protection, because he does give himself 50% of his max HP back, and to get a continuous heal, while protecting all allies except himself. So a fantastic support. He is the epic that should be a legendary. I cannot say enough. We can talk about this champion for hours and hours. I use him everywhere. If you have him, you should too. Now, Spooky Growing places a fear debuff on the attacker for 1 turn whenever an ally is attacked while under an ally protection buff. So as soon as he goes A3, if somebody hits you, somebody hits an ally, fear goes up. It's really good. It's even more control. Now, if they're not stunned, they're going to get feared because they're going to be dumb enough to try and attack your team. Aura is respectively high, one of the best HP in the game. 33% HP in arena battles, which is quite incredible. Now, also, what I did give miscreated monsters, these are old masteries. I'm not even sure they apply to nowadays, but I do think that Fearsome Presence is a fantastic mastery for that champion. So if you're giving him masteries, that's what I would recommend. And we'll quickly just show you, he does have 86,000 HP, good defense, okay speed, good accuracy, and he is just an absolute badass. We will just jump to this champion next, Silar. Now, Silar for me is a newer champion. I had her for a long time. She made Faction Wars a joke, being totally honest. No disrespect to Faction Wars, it's a pain in the A, but Silar effectively just makes it a joke. Nobody gets a turn, put her in a stun set, make her fast, give her okay stats, give her some accuracy, so she can land the debuffs on her kit, and you're golding. Okay base HP, attack and defense, 105 speed, very fast. So let's take a look at the kit, what makes her so good. Attacks all enemies, kind of boring, but she's in a stun set and she is incredibly fast. So she's going to be, I've even seen people, to prove a point, take Silar with this new AI, turn the rest of her kit off and only have her do her A1 in a stun set, and you would not believe just how much stuns she can actually land. Again, attacks all enemies, fantastic with a stun set. For control, and we're going to tell you why she's really good at control, because we're getting there. Toxic Cloud, AoE again, so again, stun set. Faster she is, the more she can do it. Decrease accuracy debuff for 2 turns. This works well in faction wars, mainly for the Valk waves. It stops bosses or anybody applying debuffs because you're going to smash their accuracy in half. That's up for 2 turns. As well as doing that, every hit obviously has a chance to stun, so the Leaden Legs places a 30% decrease speed debuff on all enemies for 2 turns. Not an attack, so if you have a stunner asleep, like a Chimera or something, you won't wake them up. Decreases the turn meter of all enemies by 40%. This is disgusting. This is so good. This A3 that goes off is ridiculous. It really, really, really is. They just do not get a turn, whether you need to progress through your Dragon, through your Ice Golem, Fire Knight as well, whether you need to progress in Doom Tower, whether again it's faction wars. Put it in a stun set. If you add the stuns onto the decreased speed, the decreased turn meter, the decreased accuracy, make her fast because she has all AoE abilities, you will not be disappointed. And I for one love Silar. I really, really do. I'm so happy I built her. Speaking to some people in my clan when I was doing the build, just to try and make sure she had the defense and HP, kind of what it needs to be, along with nice speed, nice accuracy, to make sure that she can do what she has to do and stay alive. Silar has been in my team. I'm doing easy Doom Tower before I do hard, and she's basically been in every single stage, and I have not failed one stage. Not one. Not even close. So, Silar, a fantastic control champion. If you have her, please build her, because you just will not regret it. There's no way you are going to regret building this fantastic champion. Netheril, my very first Lego. I remember it was a 2x Ancient. I had 12. I pulled 2, then I did a 10 pop, and Netheril was there. Fantastic. I got a Rain Beast, I believe, at the same time, but Rain Beast is never really something I've built out too much. Now, Netheril is not in a stud set, doesn't have to be. He has one of the best kits in the game. I use him in Fire Knight all the way up to 25. I used him in previous Doom Towers, normal or hard, made no difference. Dungeons, I've used him in Arena. Used him absolutely everywhere. Really nice base stats, nice base HP. The speed's 94, a bit lower, but we can work with that and get it to where we have to get it to. Defense close to 1000 is fine, quite high attack, and he has decent accuracy. Now his kit is a triple hit A1, chance to apply poison debuff for 2 turns. I mean, it works really well, and if you put him into clan boss, his AI will only use the A1. So if you use him nowadays, not as a control champion, he's a fantastic clan boss poisoner. Well, he's always been fantastic in clan boss, but his second hit is an AoE, 75% chance placing a stun debuff on all enemies for a turn, which is fantastic. I use this in Arena. God, I've lost count how many fights in Arena I've had with this champion. Also a decreased speed debuff for 2 turns if the target is not under a stun. So if you don't get the stun, you decrease their speed by 30%. It goes to a 4 turn cooldown. This is very, very, very strong. Bat Swarm attacks all the enemies. Decreases the turn meter by 75%. 4 turn cooldown. This is ridiculous. I've had multiple spider teams. I could continually say Doom Tower, Dungeons and so forth, but with Netheril, Miscreated Monster, Lysandra, Royal Guard, Cold Heart, or was it Royal Guard and Stag? Yeah, the spider never got a turn. Between Netheril, Miscreated Monster, and Lysandra, it was game over. This is incredibly strong. If you have Netheril, this is a champion that you should build. Don't need to put him into any type of CC set. The reduction of turn meter will allow a different champion on your team, maybe in a stun set, or if they have a provoke, if they have a freeze, gives you a lot more time. So effectively you can go slightly slower if he gets this turn meter reduction, so it buys you time. The Ghastly Horrors is great for stunning. It's helped me out so much in Arena, everywhere. Again, I'm not going to name everywhere in the game I've used him, so it'll just take too long. But as a control champion, arguably, well actually you can't argue it, he is one of the best legendary control champions in the game. And if he isn't, you should tell me why, and then I will tell you why you're wrong, because he is. And also my first Lego, not just because he's my first Lego am I saying this, but through extensive testing, even in Clan Boss, where he was my only poisoner. He used to do 17 million a run, just back in the days when I used to run very high defense. So, moving on to the last champion of the 6 that is just one of my favourite champions, Silarno the Drakes. Ash, don't be jealous, mate, but yeah, she kind of loves me back a little bit too. So, don't hate me for saying it, but it's true. So's got some love for Vilisink right here. And I've got some love for her too. I've had her in many sets. Now, I used to have her in lifesteal, just essentially for dungeon runs, where I used her predominantly. She helped me progress so much. She is a login champion. 200 or 180 days. That's just disgusting. I'm going to say disgusting again. That's disgusting. Because she is so good and she's free. And if you're closing in on this champion, you are about to make so much progress you have no idea. Any single aspect of the game, Silarno the Drakes is your woman. So, I'll check the build first. So, she is in a stun set now. Previously, she was in a speed set, maybe 260 speed. Just for a faster revival, I just wanted to get the A1 off a lot more and the stuff from the A2. And before that, she had 60k HP, 3.5k defense. She was like 180 something, and she was in the Clan Boss team, just as a reviver, just to bring people back. She had just fantastic, and that was a lifesteal build as well, along with other champions to kind of give her support. She was unstoppable. But now I run her in a stun set, and it's with her and Sylar that effectively will get you through any Doom Tower wave. I'm at 115 now on normal. I'm going to do hard next until I get stuck somewhere. But Syl, man, she's just so good if you pair her with somebody else. Or Silarno the Drakes in Netheril, Silarno the Drakes in Mitigated Monster, Hell's Cartosis, Diabolist. All these champions I've named, you can put them in tag teams, they work fine. But she's in a stun set just now. She's lost a little bit of speed, but she's still 210 speed, like 50k HP, 3k defense. So she's still built alright, with even okay crit rate, okay accuracy. And she is used just to slow people down, throw up stuns. Look at some of these moves here. She does have a decreased speed debuff for 2 turns on the A1, 40% chance. And then it goes 50% chance of decreasing the target's turn meter by 15%, which procs quite a lot for myself. So, along with the stuns, we're getting decreased speed and reduced turn meter, which kind of sounds a bit like Sylar's A3. Wing Beat Flurry, AoE 2 times. Again, I put her in a stun set. If the first hit doesn't get him, the second hit normally does. Each hit, 20% chance of placing a stun. So on top of the stun set, I've still got a triple chance of landing one. Even without the stun set, this is actually a very strong move. But I really enjoy selling a stun set. It's just a fantastic way to build her. Fantastic champion all round. She has Phoenix Right. She revives an ally with 50% HP. This is a 50% ally protection buff on them for 2 turns. Nice revival. Gives them 50% HP. Gives them ally protection for 2 turns. And along with her decreasing speed buffs and stuns, so forth, reducing turn meter, she is a champion that can keep people alive respectively, while even on her own. Now her passive is fantastic, is Boundless Life. It heals all allies with 10% of their max HP at the start of each turn. Again, the start of Silar the Drake's turn. Also places increased speed buff on a random ally for 2 turns. So at the start of Silar's turn, she heals everybody, and it's always a random ally will get increased speed. So she's a fantastic champion, and she's free. Playdame gave us this treasure for free. Absolutely crazy. Even not in a stun set, she's a fantastic control champion, support champion. I've never built her for damage, but we're not really discussing damage. She does have no masteries, and she's still fantastic. So, Silar the Drakes as a free champion. I've put her in stun for the moment. She's probably going to keep that stun set on for a long time. Unless I get similar stun pieces, have a slightly higher speed. That way I'll make her slightly faster. But as far as controlling, she truly is in just the League of Legends. So that's pretty much my favourite 6 that I've enjoyed using through my career with playing Raid. Back in the days it was Diabolist. Back in the days it was Scartorsus. Then Miscreated Monster. Well, I believe I got Netheril before I got Miscreated Monster. And everybody gets Silar. There's a chance you can get a Silar. If you do, I do recommend building her. You will see there's many people in my clan that have now just recently built Silar and Silar. And Silar is absolutely just stopping people taking a turn. It's disgusting. It's so funny at the same time. But guys, that is 6 of my favourite champions that I used to control people with or support my team. Stick comments down below of anybody that I've maybe missed. There is obviously champions I've missed. There's many more control support champions. But stick comments down below. Stay safe, keep on reading, and I will see you in the next one.